this vision he's talking about. I don't get it. He's really obsessed with this vision. He sees it all. I don't get it. You didn't see Vitor knocking you out. You were a little relaxed for that one.
Woo! Talk about Chris Weidman with the comebacks. It's Mastermind MMA, and if you didn't hear that, that was Chris Weidman talking to Luke Rockhold, telling Luke. So, like, the lady just asked Chris, "Oh, so Luke's a favorite. How do you feel about that?" Chris is like, as the way the last fight went, I see why Luke's a favorite. Luke's like, I'm going to dominate wherever the fight goes. Chris has no vision. He has no sight going on in that. And Chris said what he said. And Luke is like, damn, that was good. Man, there's certain guys. I don't do MMA, but I do box and I do jujitsu. And in boxing, I don't box that much anymore, but I was really into boxing in my teenage years. So, I was when I used to box, there was a lot of guys. There was a lot of people who didn't want to really accept clear losses. And, I've even gone to rematches with people who have lost twice. And when it gets brought up, they really like to just brush it off. And that's I've boxed in multiple promotions, and I was undefeated in boxing, and I was in multiple weight classes. I boxed heavyweight. My last time boxing, I was probably getting closer to 17, and I was boxing at heavyweight around that time. And no. I wasn't boxing at heavyweight that time. I was boxing at around light heavyweight at that time, and because it was the light heavyweight Grand Prix tournament, and it was for legacy boxing, and the weight cap on that was 175 because boxing weight classes are different than MMA. And I remember that fucking tournament was a ringer, and then I fought like a month after that at a different league at Dream Boxing at heavyweight. So I started the Legacy Grand Prix tournament and ran through like 7 fights. And there's this one guy, Blaze. He was fucking. He was the guy that I won, but it wasn't really in a dominant fashion as my others were. You see, when I sucked down the weight, when I first started, I really cut a lot of weight. So I was doing middleweight, super welterweight bouts. But you see, with super welterweight, it was just easy. Like, I was just running through the people. So I was undefeated at super welterweight. And then I started boxing at the Dream Boxing promotion. And this is all amateur. It wasn't professional. But when I was boxing there, I was doing middleweight, super middleweight, light heavyweight. And then I didn't do heavyweight then. And then when I went to Legacy, I was doing light heavyweight, super middleweight, and I held the title in light heavyweight, heavyweight, and super middleweight. So I was holding a couple titles across a few promotions, and then when I this guy in my heavyweight bout, he pulled an illegal move. I had him in the corner. I was beating the shit out of him, and then he kind of like turned back and elbowed me, but it hit my chest, so I just like fell back and almost like whiplashed my neck into the corner off the canvas. And Like after that fight, he was like a big guy because there was no cap on that, so he was like significantly bigger than me. And I won that fight, and that was like the first time I got angry in a fight. And really, I knocked him out. I got the finish, but that was the first time I angrily went for the finish. So when it just so happened, a lot of the kids that I would talk to after the tournaments and stuff like that, that would get so salty, especially if you talk to someone who got KO'd or TKO'd or stopped. They get salty, and that's Weidman did that to Luke. And Luke, the whole thing, Luke is crying that about Chris, but Chris has a win over Vitor. So Chris has that win over Vitor, and that's the guy that will kick Luke in his UFC debut. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. I know, like, I went a little bit into the history convo, but yeah, you already know it's Mastermind MMA, and yeah, you don't be too loose, or you won't see Vitor Belfort knocking you out, did ya? All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.